Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in today's podcast, we're going to be reviewing the two big games which took place over the weekend. Liverpool maintaining their status at the top of the Premier League, and Chelsea pulling off a draw versus Man City. Now, joining me this evening to review these two matches, we have returning to the podcast, Christophe.
Good to be back again, viewers.
Yes, indeed, Christophe, welcome back. And we have lots to dissect this week. Two big matches, lots of other results taking place. But let's dive straight in, Christophe. Let's first take a look at the Brentford versus Liverpool game. I, for one, expected an upset, but I guess for me, surprisingly, Liverpool came away big winners. But what's your take on that game, Christophe? Was it as straightforward as the score would suggest?
Um, I would think so. And I had said before that I thought Liverpool just has way too much quality for Brentford. You had suggested that maybe Brentford might come with a trick or two, but no. I I, I think I said it would have finished 3-1. I think Liverpool was going to win. Brentford would probably get one. It would probably be Tony, but Liverpool would just have too much for them at this time. I
Yeah,
I I think it was a straightforward game for Liverpool, dominated possession. Brentford had quite a few shots on goal, quite a few shots on target, but overall, I think it was just the quality of Liverpool that defeated Brentford on the day. I don't think there was anything particularly special about the game or the result.
yes, definitely. Liverpool better quality, shining out, so to speak. But I thought Brentford started the better of the two teams and could have taken the lead. They created, I would say, three quality early chances. One of those chances falling to Tony, and I thought if they had taken one of those chances, then it could have been a different game because the crowd would have been right behind the team and it would have given them something to defend. But fortunately for Liverpool, they failed to take any of those early chances that Brentford created. And it just so happens that long ball or long clearance, you could say, from Van Dijk, Jota one ahead in the air, ball fell to Darwin Núñez, and to my shock, it was quite a quality finish for that first goal, Christophe. Quite sublime a chip over the goalkeeper without the goalkeeper even going down, to be honest. The goalkeeper stood tall, but Darwin still managed to find that deft chip, you could say. And, that set Liverpool on to a victory.
You said to your surprise, but aren't you a fan of Darwin Núñez?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, we often see Darwin Núñez missing the what you could classify as a relatively easy chance, and then he finds some sublime goal that make you say, "Hey, there's something special about this footballer." So definitely, I mean, another goal will keep the critics quiet for another week. But I mean, I think he's a quality player, and it's just a matter of time before he start banging in the goals on a regular basis. And I mean, his confidence should be high right now coming off a goal, playing well over the last few weeks that Salah has been missing. And speaking of Salah as well, Salah is back and back with a bang, creating one and scoring one. And it just goes to show the quality of Liverpool. But, one of the things I was looking at was that as soon as a player is back, another player goes down injured. And that was the case in this game. A number of Liverpool players going down injured. And could that have a negative effect on this team going forward, Christoph? I mean, they have a League Cup coming up and then, of course, a midweek fixture, and the games keep coming. How do you see Liverpool coping with these injuries? Curtis Jones got injured, Jota got injured, and of course, Trent is out injured. Defenders are out injured as well. How do you think Liverpool has the depth in quality to cope with this running?
Uh, at the moment, I would say yes, Liverpool does have the quality remaining. Just based on the players that are out. Even though Jota is out now, Salah is back, and Salah has clearly not missed a beat. So there is not really a decline in the attacking threat. I think more concerning for Liverpool would probably be the defense, but I think right now they have it covered. At the moment, it's Do we have any future injuries coming up? I think would be the main concern for Liverpool. You play your next match, you get another key player injured, could be critical for the running of fixtures. But right now, I think they're okay.
Yes, definitely. With players out injured, another major injury could really derail the season. So, this is where team management really comes in and, coordination with both medical team, coach, and of
Uh,
course,
Proper
the
rotation.
proper rotation, the number of games coming up. You have a finals as well, and I'm sure you would want your best team out there for that final. But Liverpool do have a midweek game coming up. That game which they would have been playing on the weekend have been moved forward to Wednesday, and I think that game is versus Luton. Man City also has a mid-table game, and they face Brentford at home. So lots of games coming, and the games really coming thick and fast, and it doesn't really give players a lot of time to really recover from injuries and be reintegrated into the team. So that could possibly be a hiccup for Liverpool, as you made mention. Another major injury in defense. Let's say, for example, a Van Dijk goes down, then it's
Then
really.
I think Liverpool would be in some major trouble at that point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any key player Liverpool loses at this point in time. I mean, even the goalkeeper, Alisson, he is a major part of that Liverpool setup. But luckily, Kelleher is, putting in some work. I mean, still not the quality of a Alisson, but getting the job done nevertheless. But to be honest, Christophe, I thought Liverpool rode their luck in that game a bit, to be honest. If Brentford was more clinical and was a bit more alert defensively, it could have been a different game in all honesty. And that is what somewhat surprised me by this game. It was the easy way in which Liverpool really rolled them over. After getting that go-ahead goal, I thought second half they would have come out a bit more organized, a bit more defiant, and possibly create a few more chances on the break. But that was not the case. Liverpool was forced into some subs as well due to the injuries, and it's almost as if the subs, rather than weaken the team, actually strengthen the team and push the team forward even more because Darwin Nunes came off at halftime. Salah was on even before the half due to the injury to Jata. And of course, Gagpo came on for Nunes, and both of the subs ended up going on the score sheet, both providing a goal and an assist. So it speaks to the depth which Liverpool has, which probably has been missing in recent years. But another major injury could spell curtains for this title challenge.
I mean, aside from the injury to Jota, it could be that, maybe it was a tactical change to bring on Gakpo, but it could be a case where Klopp was thinking that maybe I don't want to risk Darwin Núñez any further for the game since he does remain fit and even if he doesn't score, he's very hardworking and that could be crucial for the fixture coming up against Chelsea, the
Ah,
Carling Cup final.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I was reading that he may have felt something, and as a precaution, that was the sub for Nunes. But Jota is definitely out. He's looking at least 2 to 3 months on the sideline. A major knee injury there. So, and of course, it's gonna take you a bit more time to really work yourself back into tip-top shape. So you're looking at Jota possibly coming in at the tail end of the season. But as I said, luckily Salah is back, so that loss may not be as devastating as it might have been if Salah and Jota were out at the same time. So
Right.
it's almost as if it's a good time for Jota to get injured. Salah being back and seem have not missed a beat. Scoring, assisting, and really killing off that game, to be honest. And I mean, again, we saw the defensive fragility in the Liverpool team, Christoph. That has been my concern all season. I thought it was just poor finishing on the part of Brentford, why they did not get more goals than the one. They still managed to score, which I suspected they would have done earlier in the game. But, I thought they were a bit wasteful in front of goal. And of course, that man again, Ivan Toney, Christophe getting on the score sheet. He was definitely a major threat all game. Much of Brentford's good play he was involved in, and his hard work was rewarded by him getting on to the score sheet. Pretty much being in the right place at the right time and just knocking in from a save shot from the keeper. What were your thoughts on Tony though, Christoph? Did we see anything new from him, or it was just the usual Tony of all that we have come to know, trust, and looking right now at a quality player?
I think it is the Ivan Toney that we've been seeing even before the ban. Same Ivan Toney, same level of play. I I I don't see anything to me that would suggest that he is better than he was before or anything like that. It's still the same player. If you thought he was a quality player before, he's still that same quality player. However, I'm not as impressed.
I am definitely impressed by Ivan Tony, Christoph. I mean, he is a striker you can count on to get you 15 to 20 goals per game in a very poor Brentford team. Now, imagine Ivan Tony at a Liverpool, for example, where chances are being created. You're looking
Well,
at a potentially 25 goal type player, in my opinion.
perhaps, and it might be a good idea for Liverpool to go for him. In that case, you could trade him for Darwin Núñez.
Oh, no, 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 definitely not. Definitely not. I think there's more. I think Darwin Núñez heights is probably higher than that of Ivan Toney, for sure. His potential peak, I think, is higher than that of Ivan Toney. So, and plus age is on Núñez's side as well. Ivan Toney is an older player. So in
So,
terms of years of productivity left, you definitely will get more years out of Núñez. But I mean, Liverpool is pretty much
sounds like you're
stacked
not too
right now.
sounds like you're not too impressed with Ivan Toney then.
No, 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 no. I am impressed. He's just not a good fit for Liverpool based on the players that Liverpool have at their disposal currently. Imagine that the thing is you have to look at when all players are fit. How do you fit all of those players in the same team? How do you keep everyone happy when they are fit? So sometimes it's a curse having too many good players at your disposal. It creates a management headache. So, you have to look at that. But for sure, in other teams like Chelsea, for example, Tony would be a perfect fit for Chelsea where they are struggling to get a number nine. And I mean, Christoph, this is a good time to segue over into that match. Man City versus Chelsea. Chelsea holding Man City to a 1-1 draw, Christoph. I was shocked at the result. I expected Man City to really blow them away, but they managed to get a draw. Talk to us, Christoph. How did you see that game?
But you know how I said that game would go. I said it would be a draw, but I feel like Chelsea has the potential to win that match, and it was a draw.
Well,
I
I
thought it
must
would have
say
been
you
2
you
all.
call that one spot on, in all honesty.
I thought it would be 2 all. I mean, you and I were speaking about it briefly, and you said that Erling Haaland was missing chances. I don't think he was missing chances. I think he was made ineffective by the Chelsea defense. He was put off. That is the reason why he was missing these chances. We saw at the end of the game a very frustrated Erling Haaland marching down the
Yeah,
tunnel.
definitely. I mean, the sort of standard he would have set for himself. I mean, he missed couple sitters, I would say, especially that you could say that cross where he had a free header and he didn't even force the goalkeeper into a save. It was a disappointing outing for Haaland in
I
terms
mean,
of the number of chances he missed or that were created for him.
there were a hat trick of headers that he could have scored, and on a different day he might have had 4 or 5. But I think it's a case where it's the defense that he was thrown off in this game. I think that was it. But the same could be said for Raheem Sterling. Before scoring that first goal, he had 2 other mirror reflection chances of the goal that he scored. Had he been maybe better with his left foot, he would have, on both occasions, he would have cut the keeper to the left and then just finish him to an empty goal. But not being confident on his left,
And the same
he
could be
ended up with
said
one.
of Jackson as well. Jackson also got I mean, a guilted chance. I'm shocked he didn't even put that one away, to be honest, Christoph. I mean, it was a cross from the right to Jackson, which he should have tucked away. He was pretty much one-on-one with the keeper, with the goal gaping, so to speak. But he failed. He squandered that opportunity. Sterling did get the go-ahead goal. And from there, it was pretty much all hands on deck to really keep Man City out. Man City eventually kept knocking, kept knocking, kept knocking until the door was busted open by that Rodri strike. And it's something we had spoken about in the preview show as again, Christoph, where Man City has that threat shooting from distance with the likes of a Kevin De Bruyne, a Rodri, or even an Alvarez. And it was that long range shot again, which pretty much led to that equalizing goal from Rodri. And from there, you could really see no other winner other than a Man City win. But, the Chelsea defense held and it held very firmly in the end. The goalkeeper must be given credit as well, coming up with a few saves here or there and also, keeping out a few crosses, especially from corners. So credit must be given to the goalkeeper. And of course, quality must be given to Pochettino. He came to Chelsea with a plan and you could say he managed to execute that plan to a large extent because definitely if you had offered Chelsea a draw at the start of this game, they would have taken it. So I thought Chelsea would have left this one feeling the more accomplished team, while Man City would have left this one feeling the more disappointed team in all honesty. But did we see anything different from this Man City unit, Christoph? I feel personally watching the game, I feel that it's becoming a little bit cumbersome in the middle of that Man City midfield in the likes of starting both Alvarez and De Bruyne. I'm not sure how you see the Man City setup. Do you feel it's becoming a bit more ineffective?
Um, Hard to say. We need to see for a couple more games. It could be that they have maybe too many attacking players who play higher up the pitch and not enough build-up players. Rodri does a very good job, but it might be a case where you need to drop Alvarez, play Kevin De Bruyne in that 10 role, and then give give Rodri a partner to help progress the ball up the field. Um, we know Guardiola, he uses those box midfields. He has one of those center backs or his left back, right back come inside to give you that additional man. And we see that they're very good with passing, some long range or whatever, but it's not as good as having, say, like a dedicated eight who is going to set the tempo, find those pinpoint long range passes and things like that. And
Well, maybe it could be a good idea to play Kevin De Bruyne a bit deeper than Christoph and play continue with Alvarez in the 10 role, to be honest. I mean,
that is also an option because we
yeah,
have
because,
seen Kevin do that.
exactly, he could ping the ball out wide, Doku one-on-one, a foul one-on-one, so to speak. But speaking of Doku, Christoph, I'm beginning to wonder if Doku has much end product. We see him running at defenders, cutting back, but really not finding that killer ball in terms of those balls leading to assists or even finding a goal himself. Is he a bit of a speed merchant without any finished product, or is it just a matter of time?
At the moment, it would seem like he might be just a one-trick pony. It could be where, it could be a case where Pochettino, they watch some videos, they saw Doku is like, all right, if Doku plays, this is what we can expect from Doku. And they were just, they just had a plan for him. Um, even with but I feel like maybe it was a case where the midfield was a little bit weaker. Um, Even though Kevin De Bruyne was kind of playing that attacking midfield role alongside Alvarez, what I noticed was that Phil Foden would come inside to go up front, and then we would see De Bruyne go out wide, and he would swing in crosses. So that was what I saw happening for most of the games. It was as if it's a bit similar to something I saw. Uh, it's when you if you used to watch the Galacticos era Real Madrid. David Beckham, we know at Man United was a right winger. Man United, but Madrid put him into the midfield, and as Figo would push up, Beckham would go out wide and swing in crosses from there. I think that was a similar thing to what I saw Kevin De Bruyne do in our game, because most of the, or you'd say, very good crosses that maybe should have been put away, that is where I saw them coming from, and not from Alex of Doku. So there were a number of chances being created by KDB, but they were not being finished.
Yeah, definitely. That was the major talking point, the lack of that killer finish by Haaland, and it just goes to show how you know, critical we can be of strikers. 1 minute we're saying Haaland is this goal machine who can't be stopped. And then the next minute we're wondering where did those finish disappear to. So that's why it's important to be consistently scoring, and as we know, goals change games, goals win matches, and at the end of the day, I think he's just gonna be coming for Brentford because City do play midweek, and the goals he missed in this game, you may very well see those goals going in versus Brentford. So don't be surprised if you see Haaland get a hat trick versus Brentford. I suspect, because all that built up frustration. Brentford is the perfect opportunity playing at home again to really release that frustration. And so, with this result, I was thinking, I mean, my prediction was that Liverpool would slip up versus Brentford. Man City would definitely have won their game versus Chelsea. And, it would have been almost like a 4 point swing at the top of the table. But right now, it's a slender lead for Liverpool over Arsenal, who, Christophe, again, Arsenal running away 5-0 winners. In the previous show, again, I made fun that it might be another 6-0. But this time they went one shot, 5-0. Another impressive performance from Arsenal, I would say, Christophe.
Yeah, it was another very impressive performance, but it is important to not get too carried away. I mean, celebrate the win. It's a big win, two big wins back to back. Very impressive. I wasn't expecting such a big win. I was kind of expecting them to maybe come into the match a bit, how you say, overconfident that they were going to win and then struggle to get those winning goals. But, they got those early goals and then it was just all Arsenal from there.
Indeed, it seems as if Saka has really found some form and is really playing out of his skin. Granted, this is versus Burnley, but nevertheless, you have to beat who is placed in front of you. And definitely over the last two games, Arsenal has really stamped their authority on the league in terms of these big wins. That's what, 11 goals in 2 games. So that puts them in a very healthy goal difference because this title race is so tight that, we may very well have champions being crowned on goal difference. So definitely having a superior goal difference does give you that numerical advantage if in fact it boils down to a case of goal difference. But in another impressive performance from Arsenal, I must say, and they keeping pace at the top of the league. The distance from the top now is just now 2 points, so that's almost like a draw. If one team draw, then and the other team wins, then you're level on points. So Arsenal definitely keeping the pressure on Liverpool and also a Man City. Man City do have a game in hand, to be honest. So that is something to look at. On paper, if they get that win, then it becomes even less at the top. So that is a game that will balance itself out come uh Tuesday. I believe that game will be played, Christoph. So we'll see how things stand there. But I definitely will be expecting a Man City win. And of course, Liverpool play the following day. So they will know their fate. I mean, at this point in the season, nothing other than a win is really acceptable. If you lose or draw, that is points lost, and that is you're pretty
Ammunition
much
for
leaving the door
opponents.
ajar for another team to really walk into. So I mean, it's win all the way. I don't think any coach is going into these games, looking for a draw or holding out for a draw. It's really all guns blazing. But lots of other action taking place in the league as well, Christoph. I mean, we saw Aston Villa bouncing back with a win versus Fulham. So that was definitely a win that Aston Villa needed, Christoph. What are your thoughts on that game? And I mean, Watkins coming up with a couple strikes right there.
I mean, it's a game that we had said that Aston Villa must bounce back in that game if they want to be taken seriously in the top four. I said that they might be running out of steam, but it's probably a little bit too early to say, but they bounce back exactly like we anticipated, and it's not really a very surprising result.
Yes, indeed. Aston Villa getting another win and maintaining their status up there with the big boys, Uh, really maintaining really surprise package of the season. But at this point in the season, we can't necessarily call Aston Villa a surprise anymore. That element of surprise has been diminished, and we have to take them for what they are. They are playing top four football. They are playing Champions League level football at this point in time. And, for me, I'm hoping that they will maintain this run and indeed finish in a Champions League position, because at this point it would be a shame for the fans if they were to falter and fade away, as has been the case with the likes of a Leicester in previous seasons, where Leicester has been going well all season in the top four, but when it was down to the business end, they seem to lose that momentum. So I'm hoping that Aston Villa will maintain their momentum and we will see them playing some Champions League football next season. Manchester United, Christoph, another win under their belt away to Luton. Talk to us about that one. What's your take on that victory
Uh,
for
I,
United?
I was actually a little bit surprised that they did go ahead and win that. It was thanks to really two very early goals. Because if not for that, I feel Luton might have walked away with the 3 points there. We saw where Rasmus Holland scored the first half of a counter attack, like as we say, because I don't know, Manu doesn't seem to score much else. And then the second half of a deflected corner, deflected. I mean, he did direct it with his chest, so I'll give it to him. It was a direct chance I go from Rasmus Højlund again. But Luton applied the pressure, but they just did not come up with the goods on the day. Had those two early goals not gone in for Manu, it might have been a very different game for them.
Yes, it might indeed have been a different game, because Luton was definitely turning the screws later in that game. And that is my concern for Manchester United. I mean, at this point in time, should a Manchester United be holding on for dear life versus Luton, Christoph? I mean, if you're really looking at a quality team, a top team, so to speak, this should not necessarily be the case, where you're basically holding on for that victory, away to Luton, a team which is really fighting their way out of the relegation bottom three. So yes, credit must be given to Manchester United for another 3 points. That's what now? Three on the bounce. So they have definitely stepped up their game and have been getting the result. But the nature of the victory is what concerns me at this point. But at the end of the day, when you look at the table, some may say that is what really counts, Are the points coming in? And the answer to that would be yes. Are we seeing the quality play? Are we seeing any real good patterns of football? The answer to that would obviously be no. But at the end of the day, it's really what the table says, the numbers. What do the numbers say? And definitely, if they can continue this momentum, if they can continue picking up points, then they may very well have something to say in that top four. But time will tell. We'll definitely see how the rest of the season pan out. But they're doing what they should be doing, and that is getting wins, picking up 3 points, and really applying the pressure to the teams ahead of them. We saw Brighton, Christoph, Brighton bouncing back with a victory. What's your take on that Brighton win? Quickly.
It's a very big win against Sheffield United, but Sheffield is at the bottom of the table, so they're resurgent, but clearly Brighton's quality won on the day. It's a big 5-0 victory. not much to say on there. We didn't see those defensive fragilities that we've been seeing from them most of the season.
Yeah, definitely. And they've gotten back a few of their players which were playing in the African Cup of Nations. Adingra being the standout man right there, coming on and really making a name for himself, picking up a couple of goals. In that one, Pascal Gross continued to be productive in terms of goal and assist. And it's a good win for Brighton. It steadies the ship, and it's another 3 points in the bag. And they should be looking up now rather than looking at the teams below them. So another good win. Of course, you said it's really against 20th place Sheffield, so it's nothing to really write home about. It was just a matter of being professional and taking care of business. But one of the surprises of the weekend, Christopher, I must say, was that Spurs game. What's your take on that Spurs game, Chris? Spurs versus Wolves?
It's a bit shocking. I did have a feeling though once I saw the first Wolves goal going. I was like, I think Spurs are going to lose this one. Based on how they were playing. I think Wolves. It looked to me Wolves just wanted it more hunger. I don't. I think it might be a case where Pastor Pagli needs to sit down and hold like a team meeting to make sure the energy levels and the hunger is there for the rest of the season. I think
Yeah,
Spurs might just be dropping off.
yeah, I think Spurs, Christoph, might be the team which is running out of steam. Wolves looks like a very happy team right now, to be honest. It look as if Wolves are enjoying their football and really just playing that underdog role and coming up with the wins, so to speak. Wolves have been one of the more impressive team of the season, considering where you thought they may have been, at the start of this year. So I think Wolf was good value for their win. And Spurs, on the other hand, I think Spurs might very well be the team, Christoph, which we see running out of energy, running out of steam, because when you look at their bench, not much quality there, to be honest, in those very critical and key positions.
Um, Wolves every season, Wolves act really does surprise me. With the players that they have and the quality that they produce, not necessarily consistently throughout the whole season, but sometimes they play against a big team, a bigger opposition, and the performance that they put on is just far better than what you would expect of them. So getting a win over some of the big teams here and there doesn't surprise me for Wolves. They just need to find a way to become consistent. Maybe it's a case where they need one or two signings or they need a new manager. Kind of similar to how
Oh no,
Aston
I
Villa
think
has
I
found
think the
Emery.
man. Remember, they're working with a new manager this season, and he
Uh,
has been doing quite well.
Yeah, it's a new manager, but I didn't mean in a case where like this manager is particular, but or anything like that. I just mean Aston Villa has found a manager who has he has
Taking them to
a
the next level, so to speak.
exactly. So it might be a case where they need a manager to take them to a next level.
Elevate
Not
them.
that this manager is bad, right?
Yeah, I think
Just
this
that
manager, he was the former coach of Bournemouth, and he kept Bournemouth up when Tony Parker, I believe, from last season was dismissed earlier in the season, and he kept them up and was not rewarded with a contract. You could say, to the surprise of many, after keeping a team out of relegation all season, he was not rewarded with a contract, but was actually let go. So. I
yeah,
guess,
the board felt that they could do better.
right. So and Wolves came in for him, and thus far, I must say, he has been doing a tremendous job with Wolves at the moment, and credit
Right.
must be
They,
given. Another a fantastic performance versus Spurs and 3 points in the bag.
right. They have been picking up a number of wins this season. But as for Spurs, it's one of those things that I had said earlier in the season that Spurs does tend to drop off in the second half of the season, even if they start very well. And it might be a case where that is happening now.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. If they fail to get a telling result in the next one, then I am sure we can definitely draw that conclusion that they are now faltering, they are now dropping off, as you mentioned, in terms of energy levels, and with lack of energy, drop in performance, and of course, the points starts to dry up, and with other teams surging in and around them. then they may find themselves drifting lower in the table. So Spurs definitely have to bounce back and have to be careful, at this point in the season. But credit to Wolves, credit to the Wolves players, and another fantastic result. But lots of results taking place, Christoph. Lots of twists and turns, many more matches to come. But any final thoughts on this weekend set of action?
I mean, it was a action-packed weekend for our Premier League football. I think for me, probably the biggest thing was, Harry Kane faltering at Bayern Munich and, Real Madrid struggling without Jude Bellingham. I think are some interesting takeaways.
Well, you do touch on it. I mean, it would be very sad for Kane, to be honest, if I mean, I think obviously if he is at Bayern long enough, he will eventually win trophies. I just don't think it's gonna be this season. Bayer Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso is really running away with the league, in all honesty, Christoph. I mean, they are yet to lose in the Bundesliga all season.
Potentially
So
Bundesliga invincibles.
that is possible. And I mean, they now have what, a 8 point lead at the top of the table the last I checked. So I don't see Bayern winning the Bundesliga. They are still in the Champions League. So even though they are now facing a deficit versus Lazio in their second leg, they are still in that competition, and that competition may be their only avenue for a trophy this year. But it would be very sad for a Hurricane having left Spurs to now go to Bayern, and that curse of not winning a trophy continues to follow him. But as I said, if he is at Bayern long enough, he will eventually win trophies. But it's hard to see him winning any this year.
Um, I agree. I mean, it would be finally very interesting to see a team other than Bayern finally winning the Bundesliga after they've had
Yeah, I mean, ever so often you have a team really breaking that spell. Oftentimes the team was Dortmund, but of late Dortmund have, fallen off, and this year we see the rise of Bayer Leverkusen. So I have no doubt that Xavi Alonso will take this one home, with a 8 point lead at the top of the Bundesliga. It's hard to see anything other than a win for Leverkusen,
uh,
so. But we'll
well,
see how it pans out.
I would love if Leverkusen win, but there's still a lot of football to be played. Fortunately, Alonso seems to have his team ticking like a well-oiled machine at the moment.
Yes, indeed. Lots of football still to be played, viewers and subscribers. But that's all the time we have for this evening's podcast. Continue to support us, continue to help us to grow the channel by, of course, liking, subscribing, and of course, leaving a comment in the comment section. Just like to thank Christophe again for really coming on board and really sharing some very unique perspectives on the fixtures and the results. And of course, when we preview these games, he oftentimes gets his calls right. But thanks again, viewers and subscribers, for sticking with us. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.